situation here.
I would just like.
Okay.
All right, now hang on.
Our interview this morning is with Gilbert Stogsdill. Gilbert was born in June of 1944 in Houston, Texas. He served the United States Army, served in Vietnam. His highest rank attained was E5 Sergeant. This interview is conducted at Burleson, Texas on Friday, April the 21st, 2017. My name is Dale Dexheimer. I'm not related to Milton in any way. Also in the room we have Milton Gibson, who is our videographer. This interview is conducted for the Veterans History Project at the Library of Congress and also for Operation Remember in Burleson, Texas. And with that little interview, Gilbert, you can tell us about your time in the U.S. military.
Okay. To do a little preliminary, my father was born in 1907, which made him too young for World War I. And as it turned out, he was old enough by the time of World War II to not be conscripted. He had three boys. The oldest being Jim was born in 1931, and Jim, while he was at Baylor University as a young man, as a junior, decided that he would join the United States Air Force and be a part of their aviation cadet program. At the time, Korea was going on, and he wanted to do his part. And as it turned out, we were living in Amarillo and in later California during his time in the service. And he would fly out to see us in Long Beach, in that area. He was my idol. He was 13 years older than I. And he was just pretty special to me. And he would get his wings at Williams Air Force Base out of Chandler, Arizona, and would spend his time learning to fly the F-86 at Nellis Air Force Base. And the war ended before he ever got a chance to actually go over to Korea. His younger brother, Ronald, who was born 4 years after him, ended up being drafted during the 1950s, late 50s, and was assigned to the 11th Armored Division which is now out of Fort Hood. But he spent his time, after doing basic and everything, in Heilbronn, Germany. As he often told us that the statistics was that if war broke out, they had about a life expectancy of about 30 minutes being where they were. I would go to college myself beginning in 1962 at a little college in Wichita Falls called Midwestern University, which is now Midwestern State University, being part of a system. It was a requirement for all males to participate in a compulsory ROTC program there. I would find out at the last, when I finally completed the 2-year requirement, that this next year it was voluntary, which was always happening for me. I didn't care for it all that much. I didn't consider myself a military guy. And it was interesting during this time period of going through ROTC that the Vietnam War was beginning to become an item for us. And we started having the news programs, like the 5 o'clock news, the 5:30 news, where it would become more of a staple of being body counts and so forth like that. And so Vietnam became a place that I become more acutely aware of the problem. And I had a professor who was a government professor, Dr. Wright, who was real good in teaching us about the embryonics of government and the necessities of checks and balances and all of that kind of thing. Decided one day to talk to us about Vietnam. And the reason he did was that he had taught 2 years at the University of Saigon himself.